Smartmatic, one of those machines that counted our votes so accurately. Oh, man. You know, Smartmatic, Dominion Voting Services. What was the other one? Seidel. All those great companies. Well, I was making a joke. That yesterday about Myanmar and their coup that's going on, that, get this, the Biden regime strongly condemns. There's no room for coups anywhere but in the United States. There's no room for that whatsoever. The military, you can only surround the Capitol in D.C. You can't take the law into your own hands in Myanmar. Well, Smartmatic, one of those wonderful machines, was bragging, it turns out, about how they are involved in Myanmar polls. This is from 2017. Smartmatic tweets with a picture of their capital. Myanmar heads to the poll in November. Read some interesting facts about this election, which we'll see first. Well, turns out we're going to continue to see many firsts. Thank you, Smartmatic, for continuing to turn the world upside down. It'll be interesting to see, in all seriousness, what, if anything, comes from this. If it turns out that the military does prove that Smartmatic was involved, does prove that there was some kind of fraud that happened, and these machines that we used in our own country were used in a way that overturned the election in that country. Well, we already have all the data here. It'd be interesting to see if anything happens from that. I was talking with several different people, and then I'll get into the intro of this show. 2 minutes in. I was talking with a few people, and we were discussing how important it is that we focus locally, that we have and press the Republican-controlled legislatures to do things to secure the vote now before 2022 even. We need to make sure that these kinds of things can never happen again. And we have some opportunities in certain states to do it. Not all states, but certain states. And I would even argue like Pennsylvania, where the GOP is in control of the legislature, not the governor. But they have the ultimate responsibility for these federal elections. And so they need to fight like crazy to get that secure, because even if they don't like Trump, even if they don't like the populist, don't you dare think they're going to do the same things they did to Trump to them. It's a matter of time. And we're already seeing that. We're already being called the fascist, which is the German, it's the United States way of doing what the Germans did. The Nazis, the Socialist Party, blamed the rioting and the civil discourse, or the civil unrest, not the civil discourse, the civil unrest, on the communists, and started persecuting the communists and kicking them out. That's where we're headed, guys. Are you ready for it? We're all fascists now, and that should really trouble us. Welcome to How to Build a Tent. My name is Matt Williams. Thank you for listening to the show. We're part of the Fight, Laugh, Feast Network. Go over to flfnetwork.com, put in HGBT in the memo field. You'll get a mug like the one you can see behind me, and you'll get tons of other great benefits as well. I also I got to be on the Cross Politics show. It's funny. I got a call from Dave. You guys know him as Chocolate Knox. And he was like, hey, we're calling you back 3 minutes live. We're going to talk about this GameStop thing. Like, okay. So I got to be on the show. That was fun. But if you want to support all those shows, all of our shows, and continue to help us build a platform so that we will never be deplatformed, go over to flfnetwork.com, put in HGBT in the memo field, support the show, support the network. It'd be great. Man, I have been listening to, and rather reading Patrick Byrne. I say Byrne because there's a Y. And I just do not speak English well, apparently. And I'm trying to get to his thing right now. Let's see, where is it? Going down. There it is. Patrick Byrne. And you can follow him on Telegram. That's where he's been posting these things. But he's also posting these things on his website, deepcapture.com. And he's going through the stories. He's going through the stories of his involvement in discovering the discrepancies in the election and the issues that he faced. And the last one, he's on the third post about this story, and it's a fantastic read. I can't highly recommend it enough. I posted on my Gab at Matt Williams if you want to follow me over there. I'm also have this show on Gab TV if you don't want to listen to it on the podcast on the Fight Laugh Feast Network. But this third story was absolutely the saddest story that I've ever heard. It was the saddest story I've ever heard, not because of the story in and of itself, but because of the lives that have been destroyed because of the story. And the lives that are going to come that will be destroyed as well. And it was absolutely the saddest story. I highly recommend you read it. This is the third blog post. It was specifically talking about the meeting on December 23rd, 2020, with Patrick Byrne, Mike Flynn, Sidney Powell, and Donald Trump. And they got in an unscheduled meeting. They basically had connections. They got into the White House. It's a really great story. I highly recommend you read it. And they put together a plan. They put together a plan based on the information they had, the evidence that they had, that there were these discrepancies that would flip the election if proven out. That would have delivered Donald Trump the presidency. And his lawyers fought them in the meeting and before, wanting him to concede, wanting him to just give up and not fight. And this meeting revolves and goes and discusses the options he could have had that Donald Trump heard of before. And he admitted it. And they said Rudy Giuliani needs to step down. And it's obvious from the previous blog post. You can read about that. And Sidney Powell needs to take the lead. And what would have effectively happen is the National Guard would go in, confiscate the voting machines, and do an audit and prove what they found through other machines in other states, in the specific states, and do redo an election, live stream it. That was their plan. And one of the things that Trump said was, Rudy has to be involved. And I believe for me, that was because he believes in loyalty and he's going to be loyal to. And I think at this point it became a liability instead of an asset. And one of the things that eventually happened was Donald Trump in that meeting agreed to make Sidney Powell in charge, agreed for the plan to roll out, and they left the White House. And shortly after that, after that initial meeting with Trump, they met with Rudy Giuliani. Mark Meadows was there. And they left thinking they were getting ready for a really busy time happening after that December 23rd meeting. And the next day, Donald Trump got convinced to pull back that plan that they had laid out and went with Rudy Giuliani and Mark Meadows' plan. And the rest is history. But it is obvious the power plays that were being made. It was obvious the deep staters in the White House itself. That because of that simple thing that Donald Trump didn't follow through with what he was going to do that night, of unleash Sidney Powell and Michael Flynn and Patrick Byrne. Because he didn't do that, Joe Biden is president. And because of that, the army didn't do what they should have done. They didn't even tell him about all this stuff. Donald Trump didn't even know about it. Patrick Byrne. The army didn't protect the United States from foreign and domestic enemies, like what we are possibly seeing Myanmar doing right now. And it's sad. And because of that meeting, already Joe Biden has funded abortions in other countries, killing people, undoing executive orders and abortions here, and continuing to push that funding of abortions. And many, many more babies are going to die than they would have. And many other negative things have happened, as we've already seen. I'm going to talk to you about the coming persecution, another thing, a result of this sad story. Again, I really recommend you guys going to read those resources on the Deep Capture, I believe it was. Let me double check that. Yeah, Deep Capture. Deepcapture.com. When we get back, we're going to talk about how we are being labeled and bended and why we need to be concerned. But first, let's talk about Cube Money, Cube with a Q. And I'm really excited about this sponsor because they are like the digital Dave Ramsey plan of money in the envelopes. It allows you to budget. People come to Cube Money to solve problems. They aren't successful at sticking to a budget over a long period of time, and they just need help. They need help figuring out how to manage and budget. And they don't save the money to reach their goals because of this. And they also start spending on purchases just ad hoc, and they get these impulse purchases. Cube Money helps you solve these problems. It helps you stick to a budget. It helps you save money, and it helps people spend money with a purpose. You're not wasting your money spending it on things that don't matter. Go visit cubemoney.com/HTBT. Some of you guys were visiting cubemoney.com/how to build a tent, but visit cubemoney.com/HTBT with a Q, remember, QUBE money.com, and go check it out. It's a free sign up. You can sign up for the entry level account for free. And then if you like it, if you think it works for you, if you're tired of using money and envelopes and you want to go digital, but still have that discipline and still have that structure, then check this out. It's a really great opportunity for you to help you budget, to help you stick to your goals, and to be successful. You don't want to do those impulse purchases that are going to set you back and to help you, and they're not going to help you. They're going to hurt you, make you not miss your goals. So go over there, check out cubemoney.com/BT. Check it out, sign up for an account, and just check it out, see what you like about it. And I'm telling you, it's going to be a great resource for you. cubemoney.com/HTBT. The Washington Examiner. This is what they call us. We defeated Al Qaeda and can do the same to the fascist thugs who attacked our democracy last month. But only if we take similar action, or if we take similar hard measures against the enemy within. They're referring to you and me. And you may be saying, I'm not a fascist. I'm a patriot. I'm a Christian. I'm a conservative. I'm a Republican. I may be a Democrat. I'm a blue-collar Democrat that saw what happened. I voted for Trump, and I thought that their election irregularities, there we go, were atrocious, and I wanted a fair election. Well, now the Washington Examiner is calling you a fascist. And you may be saying, how could you do that? That is not me. All you have to do is look back at where we have been from years ago. Celebrating transgenderism, even to the point of children being able to get sex changes. Introducing, pushing that in our businesses, in our corporations, in our media. If you want to be a girl, you could be a girl even if you're a boy. Even if your chromosomes are XY, we will tell you, we will pretend, we will imagine that you are a girl or whatever you identify as. You want to have a different pronoun? Then we'll give you 60 different options. And even, in fact, one that says other, if that doesn't cover it enough. Our society has rejected all forms of truth, ultimately because they have rejected the truth, Jesus Christ, and that is why we need to pray for repentance. So why are we surprised when the totalitarian regime, the Washington Examiner newspaper, comes out with an opinion labeling us as fascists when in fact we are not? The definitions and boundaries, the science have not mattered. They've been destroyed and taken down. A skeptical person would say, for a time like this. The Marxists who have pitted the cultural groups against each other, black versus white, man versus woman, the rich versus the poor, the heterosexuals versus the homosexuals, I don't know, what are we, like normal humans that think their boys are boys and girls against the transsexuals or the transvestites or the transgender people, whatever you want to call them. It has all been broken down. So now we are here where we can be called the fascists. And we can be called the enemy. And you may be saying, oh, it's not going to be that bad because there's still a 50-50 split in the Senate. There's still a very small lead by the Democrats in the House. They're not going to do this stuff. They're not going to take over, They're not going to completely dominate and punish us. We have Republicans that will fight for us and fight back. We have already had the FBI sent to them. We've talked about before, someone's already been arrested facing 10 years in prison for posting a meme in 2016 about the previous election, not even this most recent one. Other reports of FBI visits happening right as we speak for people that were at the Capitol. They didn't necessarily even do anything wrong, but they were at the Capitol because they're fascist. We have the IRS resuming the tactics that they used under Barack Obama because the same people are in control of the White House right now. The same people are in control of the Democrat Party. The Democratic senator asked IRS to revoke nonprofit statuses for conservative groups over super spreader events. There goes our church tax exempt status, which we don't need anyways. We give freely because of the Lord, not because of our tax exempt status. But this is what Republican Mitch McConnell, traitor Mitch McConnell, turncoat Mitch McConnell is fighting. He calls the one chick that believed in QAnon cancer on the GOP and says Cheney is an important leader. So we have the IRS being asked to target us, conservative groups, churches. That's code name for churches who have super spreader events. That's code name for church assembly. We have a member of the House Intelligence Committee, Eric Swalwell, who slept with a Chinese intelligence officer, presumably making him allegedly a Chinese spy. Dianne Feinstein had a chauffeur for 20 years that was a Chinese military agent officer, which allegedly made her a Chinese spy. We have Barbara Boxer, who got in trouble for not registering as a foreign agent for China. We have Joe Biden and his family on record, receipts, emails, witnesses, voicemails, talking about Chinese payoffs and percentages going to the big guy, Joe Biden. And Mitch McConnell is going after a freshman congresswoman who believed in QAnon. What has become of us? we need to prepare for what's coming, and it's not going to be pretty. The left does not have brakes. The GOP is become the Democrat Party. And they're coming for us. They're sending the IRS. They're sending the FBI. And there is very few people left to fight for us. But we still have the promise. And it's probably we need to end with this every single day. Is that God says, if you, my people, the church, we don't need to get the Republicans. We don't need to get the populists. We don't need to get Antifa to buy onto this. We don't need the ERLC or the Gospel Coalition, but we need my people who are called by my name to humble themselves, to pray, seek my face, and I will heal their lands. We need to do that. That is our only hope. That is our only hope. And I pray that you and I will do that and humbly seek our God and ask him to forgive us for our sins as a church, for our sins as the people of him, and that we would be humble and that we would pray and truly seek his face. That's the only way. And it always ever was, to be honest. And God has continued to knock down every single institution and hope besides him. And that gives me excitement because that means that God is working just like he promised. So do those things. We'll talk to you tomorrow. God bless.